Alright, this walkthrough video is going to cover the 4th mission in MechCommander 2. You can see start off, for logistics, I'm bringing, of course, a sensor mech, which is my Razorback, with my pilot Flash, who, as she gains ranks, I've been giving her things like Light Mech Specialist, which was her first perk. Definitely important for your sensor mech, if it's a Razorback Light Mech. Or if you later on you start using the Men Shen, which is the medium mech that has a sensor suite, that you get a pilot with medium mech specialist. That way they can avoid damage, and being that they're essentially your eyes and ears in every mission, for the most part. You want to keep your sensor vehicle safe, or sensor mech safe. Alright, first off, as you can see what I've done here, we avoided these 2 garrisons of units that you can see to the bottom right of my sensor coverage. If you head straight north as soon as you start the mission, you're going to run into a bunch of defenders that you don't need to fight. So what I did is stick to the water as close as possible and kind of curve around towards the first objective, which is this base. Which is, you can see, defended by these 2 fireflies. And as soon as you start attacking, the convoy is going to start leaving. However, they're pretty easy to stop. And even so, they kind of come to a rest just outside the nearby Liao base. Although it's still a good idea to shoot them before they get that close, because they can still be within the turret range of the enemy base. Which just makes your job a little bit more difficult, but from my experience, they don't end up actually going inside the base itself. Which is useful. As you can see, that car is about to stop where it is. And that's kind of the position where they stay at. But as you can see, now these urban mechs come out, dispatched by the Liao. Now they get involved. So, finish taking out the infantry. It helps if you've already dealt with the fire ants by this time. Make sure to capture that resource building as well. And then we want to kite the urban mechs over in this area, because we have plenty of room. Not to mention there's these ammo crates, which we're going to lead them next to, in order to soften them up initially. And only one of them was kind of close enough to be damaged by the blast, but even so, still worth it. Because any damage is helpful damage. And a thing to remember about urban mechs is all their weapons are on their arms. So if you blow off both arms of an urban mech, it's essentially neutered. And particularly the autocannon arm is the most dangerous of its arms. So if you get that one off, then you've made your job a lot easier for yourself. Whereas the lasers are particularly weak, although they still pose a threat in this difficulty, as does all sorts of damage in reality. Now is a good time to repair your mechs. As you can see, the Bushwhacker's taking some damage to its torso, so we definitely want to repair that. And then I've mentioned before, the overall health bar does not tell you how many hit points are left, or how many shots a mech can take before it will be destroyed, because it all depends on where it gets shot. For example, a mech can take damage only in its center torso, and if its center torso gets blown through, then the mech is toast. And it can still have all of its other pieces intact and pretty much have like a health bar around 50 to 75%. When that happens. But yeah, Health bar is more of a status indicator about how effective they are on the battlefield. And now you can see we're starting to engage the true Liao variant next, is this Xiaoyu, which is a very useful sensor mech to have. It's much better than the Razorback, in my opinion. But definitely attack it, and if you can manage to get it in perfect condition, or perfect salvageable condition with most of its weapons left on it, it's definitely a good candidate for salvaging. As you can see, unfortunately, I end up blowing its weapons off, so I don't think I'm going to salvage it, because all it's got is the medium autocannon, so it's not going to be that helpful in this mission, compared to the RPs I'd need to spend in order to get it working. A little break here. I had some second thoughts, as you can see, when I was playing this game, if I wanted to salvage that mech or not, but eventually decided not to, in the hopes that find something else. You can do here is just jump into this base to capture the turret control by coming in from the side, like I just did there. It's kind of like an alternative option, or you can take that path to the north for a more indirect approach to this mission.
Long shot here. Sir, I'm under attack. Gotcha, crawler. I got it.
And the defenders here are pretty light, all just small vehicles. As you can see, there's some centipedes here, and we had fought some couple of harassers earlier. Came into the base. They're pretty easy to destroy quick, and they're not much of a threat to your own mechs. And once you've captured this section, you can bring your repair truck to the front lines, as I'm about to do here. And as you can see, we've got this patrolling Xiaoyu now, coming into range of our defenses here. Having those SRM turrets is going to really finish this guy off pretty quick. And make sure to stay inside the base near the turret control, because he has jump jets and he can fly in and capture the turret control tower if you're not careful. Unfortunately, I managed to strip all the weapons off of him again on this guy. This is the weapons facility we're going to have to capture. Now is a good time to repair again before heading further onwards. Now that we got the repair truck up to the new front line.
Long shot here. here. Good to go. Flash here. Back in action.
And what I'm gonna do here is there's this small base to the south, which is actually quite heavily defended. It has some resource buildings, and
Flash here. Looks like
it's gonna be worth to capture it. And since we have those SRM turrets, the idea here is I'm gonna lead them back to the base.
I got him. Enemy down. No problem, boss.
Oh, I don't believe I finished mentioning earlier. For logistics, I brought Razorback for sensors, Star Slayer and Bushwhacker medium mechs for support, and the Shooter heavy mech for just pure damage output. Definitely helps to have a heavy mech in this mission. And you have the weight limit in order to do so too. As you can see, the Anubis is a longer range mech than the Shayu is. So you have to work a little bit more at bringing him in towards the base. Luring him. But at the same time, it's still a light mech, so it's easy to down nonetheless. As you can see, he goes down pretty quick. Now he's got these 4 harassers at him. Now we're free to head back towards that base. There's also some fuel tanks in the enemy base that we drew all those guys out of, which can be worth blowing up in order to take them out quickly. Although I opted for bringing them back to the base. And now we've captured the resource building here. Mostly that's just going to mean more mech salvaged for you, which at this point on in the game is still pretty useful. If not to bolster your forces or options, then just to use for C-bills so that you can purchase other mechs. And we're going to flank this base, coming around to the side to avoid having to deal with those turrets head on. And as you can see, there's this like ramp that leads up to the side.
Mech power-up detected.
And with the Anubis being a long-range mech, it can be very useful to charge towards him rather than kiting him away. Although that also depends on the nearby terrain, because sometimes you can end up pushing him into a spot where you're going to have a harder time killing it, either due to local defenses or picking up additional enemy hostiles. And as you can see, as soon as your mech starts shooting the back of an enemy mech, they're going to do far more damage and drop it much quicker. Where in this case, I managed to lead him away so that my 3 main mechs, including the heavy mech, was just smashing the rear armors.
Roger that. Salvage craft is on its way.
And at this point, you pretty much nullified most of the defenders, so it's worth just salvaging any mechs, even if they're not necessarily a good state, before we capture this facility and extract. You can jump your own mech in, or you can even walk up the side and blow a hole through the wall.
What we got here is a cache of pristine Gauss
Equally
rifles.
viable options.
Imagine something that can blow the armor of a Mad Cat from long range using almost no heat. An elegant weapon.
As you can see here, I'm just picking the Shayu.
Roger that. Salvage craft is on its way.
Sir, House Liao is sure to send reinforcements. You better find a defensive position.
There's a few attack helicopters and other enemies that start to come in now, but they're easily handled by the units I already have.
Good to go, boss.
I managed to repair the Anubis, so.
My path is blocked. It's me. Guy's a wrecking machine. It's me. Commander, I'm taking fire.
I choose at this point pull them back towards the SRM base just in case while I finish my salvaging.
Repair resources depleted.
Roger that. Target confirmed. Roger that. I copy. Target acknowledged. Nice. Psycho here. No.
It's actually just the attack helicopters that are part of that attack group. So. But yeah.
Roger that. Salvage craft is on its way.
Salvage my last mech, and it's time to start heading for the extraction point. And since we didn't capture that small SRM base, I make sure to move my guys outside of its range. Final target, we've got this guy here. Though he just happens to be next to some ammo dumps, so kind of gives you a hint as to how we're about to deal with this.
Long shot here. Target locked in.
Enemy Anubis.
Yes, sir. You got it.
And that pretty much got rid of him instantly.
I can't do that, boss.
And back to our original goal, getting under here. And this is the end of mission 4.
Objective complete.